Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. In today's video, I'm going to give you not 10. I'm going to give you 12 things that you need to do to get your credit score up. Now, you should never listen to anyone who does not have something that you're trying to achieve, because they'll just have you out there roaming the streets blindly, and you're following their directions, and you're not going to get anywhere. Right here as proof, I logged into my Citi bank account, and you can see right here 836. My points went up by 2 points. It used to be 834. It went up by 2 points. I'm almost at 900. And you know something crazy too? I heard someone on another YouTube channel that said that all people who are like middle class, all they want to do is just worry about their credit score. Yes. Why do you want to worry about your credit score? Because people who have a high credit score pay less for the things that people who have a low credit score pay more for. Just like people who have bad credit pay more for the things that people who have good credit pay less for. The same things. If you're going to build wealth, you need to, number one, have a foundation, and the foundation is your credit score. So don't be fooled by people who tell you your credit is not important. Because those same people, when they go to get things that they want to get, they're going to use their credit scores. I'm here to tell you, and I'll say it over and over and over again until the end of times. We live in a credit society, and regardless of how much cash you have, there's going to be a date and a time that you're going to need to utilize your credit, even if it's just to prove the reputation that you have of handling money. So now, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 12 things that you need to do to get to 836. So if you want to get to 837, you need to find somebody else's video, because I haven't got to 837 yet. I was at 834, and now I got to 836. So now we're going to go over the things that you need to know to be able to get your credit score to 836. All right, so now the first thing that you need to know to get your credit scores to 836 is that you need to fix your credit. If your credit is messed up, you are not going to get to an 836. It doesn't even make sense. It's not logical. There is no way, no how. Because the algorithm is going to continually read that you have negative information on your credit reports or unresolved information on your credit reports. And if you do not get that stuff taken care of and resolved, you're not going to get to 836. So step number one, you got to fix your credit. You got to take action. You got to get all 3 credit reports, not just one. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You need to dispute any of the inaccurate information or unfair information, duplicated information, or fraudulent activity information. You have a right to dispute that. You have a right to make sure that everything on your credit report is 100% accurate. Even if it's an account that you have, negative or positive, if it's not showing accurately, it must be removed. That's the way that the Fair Credit Reporting Act states it. You can still have an open account with someone, and if they are not accurately reporting to it, they either have to correct it or remove it. And that goes for negative or positive information. The next thing, step number 2, is you got to pay those credit card balances down. You need to keep them down to 30% or 10% or better. Now, you don't have to, you can use your credit cards throughout the whole month, but you need to find out when is the statement date, or the reporting date. What is the date that your credit card company is going to report the balance that you're carrying over to the next month? Because if you don't pay the bill by that time, then it's going to affect it. Now, if you don't care about your scores fluctuating, okay. But if you care about your scores fluctuating, so say that there's something that you're going to need your score for and you want to have it at its highest level, then you need to pay attention to this, to the statement dates. Because when they report that statement date, that's when those balances are going to show, and that's going to affect your credit rating, your credit scores. So you can have good credit, and a lot of people who, one of the things that people will complain about once they get their credit repaired is they're like, well, I'm paying those credit cards off every month. Why is my scores going down, or why are they going up and down, up and down? It's because you're paying them after the statement date. In some of the months, you're paying it before. Some of the months, you're paying it afterwards. They're like, well, how can I, if I'm paying it at the same time, how can they do that? Because on the month that you didn't use it as much and you paid more on the month before and you didn't use it as much, maybe you kept it under 30%. When that was reported, it was under the 30%, so that helped your scores go up. Even though you just paid them off and you're doing the same thing you've always done, some months you didn't use it as much and it was probably under 30%. Now, the next thing that you need to do is that you can do, and also included in that is don't miss any payments. Don't miss any payments. No late payments. You don't need any of that. The next thing you can do is you can become an authorized user from a trusted family member, or there's services that offer authorized user services where you can utilize the credit good payment history from a family member or a company that provides a service, and that can boost your scores. I've seen where if your credit is clean, as much as 100 to 150 point boost in scores. And this is 100% legal. Don't let anyone try to fool you that it's not legal. You can do this. People do it all the time. The next thing that you can do to increase your scores, and this is all without going out there getting a loan. Another thing, I didn't say that at the beginning. You don't need to go out there and get a loan with everything that I'm telling you on how to get your scores boosted. The next thing that you can do is you can get your your credit limits increased. So if you got credit cards and you've been a very good client, you can submit, some of them have it where you can just submit it right there online. Submit it to have that account limit, the credit limit, increased. When you do that, that's going to show that you have more available, and that could take you under the 30%. So that's one way that you can do it without going out there and getting another card. And again, paying your bills on time. I'll just reiterate it. Number 5, paying your bills on time, no missed payments, because that impacts your credit history, your credit score history by 35%. The next thing is look for some alternative ways to increase your scores. Like I was just speaking to a client that came into the office. You can get your rent reported. You can get your cell phone bill reported. You can get your cable bill reported. Any apps that you pay on a monthly basis reported. There are a number of things, utilities, a lot of stuff that you can get reported. Experian has a product. There's other products that are also available. And also there's a link below this video that takes you to a website that has a whole bunch of different alternatives on boosting your scores. The next thing that I see some people do, and this is a mistake that I had made in the past also, is if you're not utilizing a card, still keep that account open, because if you close out that account, that's going to drop your scores. Now, it's okay if you want to do that. If you understand that it's going to drop your scores, if your goal is to keep the scores up, then those old accounts, like you got a credit card that you're just not really using, or a department store card that you're not using, keep the account open, and then eventually they may close it. But if it's a credit card, just utilize it for gas or something every month, and just to keep that account open if your goal is to keep a high score. The next thing is diversify your credit payments. And this is a way that you can keep your utilization down. Like, so say for instance that, most of the time people pay their bills at the end of the month. maybe you can start paying some of your bills in the middle of the month, some of them at the end of the month. And this, what you're going to be doing is when they are reported, those balances are going to be lower. So if you look at your utilization of your overall, all the payments, debt to income ratio, that is worked into the scoring system. And it could say, well, you're only utilizing like 10% or 15% or 50% of your available credit. When I was looking at mine, it said that I'm utilizing less than 2% of my available credit. So yeah, so when I was looking, my bank has this where they give this evaluation, and they were looking at like how much to are you using in comparison to your income, and it was only 2%. So everything that I do with bills, paying bills, everything is only 2% of my total income. So from what I have coming in and what I have to go out, I only utilize 2% of my total income. And you will see that this is something that's not really talked about a lot with the credit reports. But if someone gets an internal credit report, there's two types of credit reports. There's the one that they let us see, and there's the one that let the lenders see. And that FICO score has something built into there where it will look at your debt to income ratio. For us, when we look at it, it'll just say, your total debt. But then when they get it, they look at total debt to income ratio. So that you got to be very careful on that. The next thing is settling outstanding debts. That goes to negative credit, goes to making sure that your credit is repaired. The other thing is limit your hard inquiries. Inquiries do hurt. They don't hurt as much as a lot of people think, but you do have to limit them. You got to be very careful with that. Some people, some of the other tools that are available is getting a secured credit card. It depends on where you're at in your credit repair journey. But these are some ways that people have been able to get a secured card and start to rebuild. And then about 3 to 6 months later, they're able to either transition that to an unsecured card or apply for unsecured card. And basically what they're looking at doing, and that's why authorized trade lines work very well, is because they're trying to look at some type of payment track record. It's not a human that's going to look at it. It's going to be an AI computer that's going to evaluate what's on your credit reports. And if they just see credit history and payments being made, even if it's with an authorized user, you're going to more than likely, as long as that's been on there for 3 to 6 months, you're going to get approved for an unsecured card because they're in the business of making money. And then number 12, the last thing that you need to do is you need to monitor your credit regularly. I look at my credit. I get alerts about my credit. You got to know, I run into a lot of people when they're like, I got turned down for a loan and they said I need to fix my credit. And I'm like, what's going on your credit? And they're like, I don't know. You never want to be out there in that I don't know group of people. You need to always know what's going on with your credit. I think a lot of people don't like to get into their credit because they know that it's bad and they don't want to know how bad it is. But the only way you're going to fix something that's bad is to know how bad it is and then start fixing it. So now, just a quick review. Let's go through the review. Number 1, on the list of how to increase your credit scores without going out there getting a loan. Number 1, you got to correct the negative information on your credit reports. Basically, you got to fix your bad credit. Number 2, pay your credit card balances down. Number 3, alternative, you could option become an authorized user. Number 4, increase your credit limits on your cards that you have right now. That's an excellent way. Number 5, pay your bills on time. Number 6, look for alternatives to boost your credit scores like rent reporting, utility reporting, apps, cell phone, all of that stuff that you're already paying on and not getting credit for. Number 7, keep old accounts open. Number 8, diversify credit payments, where you can pay stuff towards the middle of the month and then the end of the month instead of waiting for everything at the end of the month. Number 9, settle the outstanding debts, which we talked about with credit repair. That would be part of that. Number 10, limit hard inquiries. Number 11, look for credit boosters. credit builders like secure credit cards that you can get. And number 12, monitor your credit all the time. Get a monitoring service, pay for it. It's like having the gasoline in your car. It's not going to run if you don't put gas in it. And trying to get these free apps and stuff, I know how it is, but those free apps just don't tell you the story. They just try to sell you stuff. Know what's on your credit, know what's on all 3 reports. Get paid credit monitoring service. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Links are below this video. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters. Link is below here. If you have debt collectors trying to sue you for your money, trying to take you to court, link is below this video. Thank you for your time. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.